So when where is my video? Yeah. So when we say that authority and responsibility goes hand in hand, that means that there should be balance between authority and responsibility. Manager should have the necessary authority to carry out his responsibility. Okay, and furthermore, if authorities are given, there should be no abuse of managerial power. But at the same time, the manager should have the right to punish or appreciate his subordinate or his subordinate. That means if somebody is doing good, he should be able to appreciate. He should have the right to appreciate. If somebody is not putting the efforts, he should have the right to punish. So that is why it is said authority and responsibility. What happens when this particular principle is followed in any organization? The work done gets better and better because the same person is responsible as well as is having that particular authority, and that is why it is said that. So authority and responsibility is the second most important principle of Fayol. Okay. Now the third principle is discipline. That is principle of discipline. When we talk about principle of discipline, it clearly states that everybody within the organization needs to follow the rules and regulations. That means every individual working in the organization should be obedient to the organizational rules and employment agreement. And furthermore, what does this particular principle say that while doing this agreement with the employee, while doing the contract, there should be clear and fair agreement and a judicious application of penalty. Now, what do we understand by this judicious application of penalty? Now, suppose if I am the manager and I have 10 people working with me, and in that one, in that 10 workers, there is one worker who is my cousin, and he makes some mistakes. So I try to ignore that. I ignore it. But the similar type of mistakes are done by others. It is taken up to the higher authority. It is not ignored. So this means that it is not judicious application of this particular discipline. If a mistake is done by anyone, they should be have a similar type of penalty, whether it's the owner's brother or the manager's brother, anyone. That's why it is clearly said that there should be a clear and fair agreement and judicious application of penalty. And in this role, worker and management both should honor their commitment towards one another without prejudice. What we had seen earlier in mental revolution of your principle that management and workers have difference of opinion towards each other. So that mental revolution should come that no, we are here for the organization. We are supposed to do our work without prejudice for the betterment of the organization. And both worker and management should honor their commitment towards the organization and towards one another without prejudice, without any particular bias. Okay. The fourth principle of Henry Fayol is uh, unity of command. That is the principle of unity of command. When we say command, that means, and unity of command means what? Unity of command means the orders which flows from the boss, and the boss should be one. The orders from only one superior, only one manager. Each employee should be responsible to only one superior. That means the workers working in the organization, suppose in a production department, in one particular unit, when all 10 to 20 workers are working, they should receive orders from only one single foreman. That is called as unity of command. Then what happens if this particular principle is used? It prevents confusion regarding tasks to be done. And another what thing is that if this principle is violated, then authority is undermined, discipline is in jeopardy, order disturbed, and stability. What is this? Order disturbed and stability threatened. Now, when we say this, what happens that authority is undermined. Now, what happens if one person gives order and people don't follow the order? What will happen? The work done will not be effective. That is not within the time limit. Discipline will be in jeopardy. There will be no discipline at all because one person is saying something, another person is saying something. So people will listen to their choice of orders and comply to that. And because of this, the order will be disturbed and stability will be threatened. There will be no stability in the organization. So hence in this regard, we need to have this unity of command. Now the next is centralization and decentralization. This is the fifth principle. Centralization. What do you mean by centralization? And what do you mean by decentralization? Here we basically talk about the decision making authority. Centralization means the concentration of decision making authority is with top management. The top management is the only one which takes the decision, right? And now what happens in centralization? What happens is that any big organization cannot have this centralized type of authority making. Centralization can be done in a small organization where 20-25 people are working. That's why, or 50 people are working, maximum to that. So there can be centralization, but it cannot have decentralized. It cannot have centralization in larger organizations. Why? So that is why we come to decentralization. Decentralization of dispersal of decision making power among more than one person. Earlier, the top manager was taking the decision. Now, the subordinates of the top manager can also take the decision. So, in this, what you call decision making, decentralization, at every single stage, there are some managers who have been given some or the other authority to make the decision. They can make the decision so that the work done is within particular time limit. Here Then one more statement is given: large organizations are more centralized, more decentralized than small organizations. What does Fayol says? There is a need of balance, subordinate involvement through decentralization with manager retention of final authority through centralization. Here what we are doing, we are trying to balance the subordinate involvement through decentralization and through centralization, because what we are doing through centralization, the final authority we are making the managers. So we are making a particular balance in that. The sixth one is unity of direction. Now, unity of direction means when all the workers along with the managers move towards one direction of achieving the target. When they do that, the organization can achieve its objective. All the units of the organization should move towards the same objective through coordinated and focused efforts. Now what happens? Every organization, there are different groups. Different groups work together. If they don't work together, there is one particular group which makes the raw material. Some finishes the raw material. The finished raw material is used as the raw material in some other department, and so on and so forth. So when people work together in a particular direction so that the target will be achieved, what is the aim of this unity of direction is that it prevents overlapping of activities, and if overlapping happens, if it affects the entire organization, and that is why we need to have unity of direction. uh, Further we will also learn about subordination of individual interest to common interest. One individual person, I have some different interest of doing a particular job, but I need to carry take my what you call interest with the interest of the organization. If I complete the target of the organization, I will be able to complete the target of myself. So that is why unity of direction is important. Next is subordination of individual interest to general interest. The interest of an organization should take priority. The interest, my interest does not matter that much as compared to the interest of the organization. Because when the company's target or the organization target is fulfilled, the company's interest is fulfilled, my interest, my target will also be fulfilled. The largest interests of the worker and the stakeholder are more important than the interest of any person. Okay. Now, uh, now the eighth principle is principle of color chain. Now, basically, when we this particular name is as such color chain. What is this color chain? Basically, this principle is associated with communication. As such, when you see the communication in any organization comes from the top to bottom. The communication comes, the start from the chairman of the organization. It then percolates down from chairman to the top managers to middle level managers, and then to the lower level of management. So what is this particularly what you call? principle of color change. In communication that runs from top to the bottom, and it should be followed by managers and the subordinates. Then what happens? It facilitates smooth flow of communication and unity of command in the organization. With this principle of color change, the communication has to flow from top to bottom, and all the managers and subordinates must follow that. And because of this, there is a smooth flow of communication. And you will come to know from where this message has been originated, so that particular person can be held responsible if something goes wrong. And that is why this change should not be violated in the normal course of formal communication. Okay? In the normal course of formal communication, this change should not be broken, should not be violated. But in case of emergency, actually, before that, let us try to understand what happens when it is a two-way communication, the one which comes from the top to bottom and the another one which goes from bottom to top. Now, the policies which come from top to bottom, the feedback which goes to top from bottom. Now, suppose in between there are some suggestions, there are some requirements by a middle level manager, then he needs to approach to the top level manager. The top level manager talks to the another head of the another department. Then what happens? That top level manager talks to the middle level manager. So in this, time consumption takes place. Now what Fayol suggests here with the principle of color change, in case of emergency, a shorter route named gangplank may be used to avoid delay in communication. Now when we see what is this gangplank, see, if you see at the top of the triangle from where the communication moves, there are two different arms of this particular triangle. The line is BCD and LMN. Now suppose the middle level manager have some work with that of another department. He directly or she directly needs to contact to the middle level manager of another department, so that the communication is fast and the work done is within the required period of time, and so that what we are done in this previous uh, principles, that subordination of individual interest to common interest, so that will also be eligible. Now here, the while using this gang plan, I'm shortening the communication time, and thereby the work done will be faster. Ninth one, that is remuneration of employees. What is this remuneration of employees? That is the wage of a particular employee. This principle states that the remuneration of employees should be just and equitable. Employees should be paid fair wages, which should give them at least a reasonable standard of living. A reasonable standard of living. When we talk about these workers, some workers don't get a reasonable standard of living. The wages are some wages are very less. And furthermore, The wages should be also within the paying capacity of the company, right? When fair remunerations are given to the employees, that's it, not employees. The fair remuneration are given to the employees, the workers work happily, and this will ensure good relation between worker and management. And that is why remuneration of the employee is one of the most important principle of management, because if remunerations are not paid fairly, people will not work effectively and efficiently. When people will not work effectively and efficiently, the company goes into losses because of wastage. The target is not completed in time. So remuneration should be fair and also in time. Now, this particular principle, that is order, that is the 10th principle of Henry Fayol, that is principle of order. Now, here order means not commanding. Here order means keeping the things, material at a suitable place for maximum efficiency. A worker should not run for his equipment here and there and waste time. So what does it say? People and material must be in the suitable place at appropriate time for maximum efficiency. It also states that there should be a place for everything and everyone in an organization, and that thing or person should be found in that allotted place or that allocated place. Now, what happens for principle of order in F.W. Taylor? We had done one particular study which says movement study. What does that particular study says? That inefficient movement of the worker should be reduced. How it can be reduced? All the materials which are required for doing any particular work should be kept at a particular place where it should be found at that particular time. So when we follow this particular principle of order, this will lead to increase in productivity as well as efficiency. Now the 11th one is principle of initiative. Now, when we talk about the principle of initiative, it is a particular principle which suggests that those people who want to take initiative must be appreciated. Initiative means thinking and executing the plan within the prescribed limit of authority. That means any person or any manager who want to execute the particular plan given by the management, he thinks and executes the plan within his prescribed limits of authority. That is called as initiative. It states that the worker should be encouraged. The manager should also encourage the workers to develop and carry out their plan for improvement in the organization. Certainly, this will help the company in a larger manner. Why? Because if one person takes initiative and does a particular job with effective and efficiency, with these two particular things, and the company or the manager appreciates that person, then other workers in that particular department will get motivated to take the initiative. And because of this, taking the initiative, the work done in the organization will be effective. Effective means within a particular time frame, within a particular time limit. And these people, while taking initiative, they will also try to become the expert. When they become expert, they bring the competitive advantage to the company in the market. Twelfth one is the stability of the personnel. Here it is very important. The employee turnover should be minimized to maintain organizational efficiency. The worker attrition, the worker turnover or the employee turnover means every year how many workers move out of your organization to some other work. That is called as employee turnover. Right? Now, this employee turnover, if any company has employee turnover, that means the environment of that particular company is not conducive for working. There is lot of harassment going on in that particular organization. So, what has to be done? Before selecting a person, the selection process must be rigorous. It should be very tough. But when the person gets selected, then that person, selected person, must be provided post for minimum fixed tenure. For a particular tenure, he should be given a particular tenure, and he should be said, okay, this is your particular tenure. In this particular tenure, you need to prove your credentials. So this will give the stability. The person will not fear about hire and fire, because many companies have adopted, especially banks. They do the campus interview in the MBA colleges, in the MCOM colleges or the commerce colleges. They take the sales executives from these colleges and then ask them to bring current account and saving account. And when this sales executive exhaust, or they are, when they are unable to bring this current account and savings account, these banks throw them out. So that is called as hire and fire policy, and that must not be adopted. Why? Because recruitment process, selection process, as well as training cost of the new employees will be high. A new employee, a fresher cannot be equivalent to an experienced person. That is why this principle, that is stability of the personnel, is very important. Now the 13th one is equity. Now equity means not equal. That is fair. Fair remuneration should be given to all the people as respect to their expertise and their skill. Equity means that there should be no discrimination against anyone on account of sex, religion, language, caste, belief, nationality, etc. Now, what this principle further states that it emphasizes kindliness and justice in the behavior in the behavior of manager toward the workers. The manager should be kind enough and should have justice towards the worker. Now, what if two workers are there? If two workers are there, one worker completed completes his task. Okay, one worker completes his task within a given period of time, whereas the other worker is not able to complete that particular task in time. Now, equity means here you are providing an opportunity of training to that person who is not able to what you call perform his job. When training is given, the person who was lagging behind may now come up to the person number one who was able to complete the task. Now, when this principle of equity is followed, the workers will be devoted and will also be loyal to the company. And lastly, the 14th principle is the principle of spirit de corps. Here, spirit de corps means team spirit. Management should promote a team spirit of unity and harmony to realize organizational goals. The word I should be replaced with we in the conversation with workers to foster team spirit. This will give rise to spirit of mutual trust and belongingness among the team members. It will also minimize the need of using penalties. Now, when we say spirit de corps, there should be team spirit. Now, suppose in a particular city, uh, there are 5 salespersons, and everybody has a target of 100 units to be sold. Now, what happens? The salesperson number one gets ill. Then what happens? He will not be able to achieve the target. Now, those co-workers, 2, 3, 4, and 5th one, these people should help the salesperson number one to achieve the target by meeting the customers of salesperson number one, so that it is the spirit of unity. So it is a win-win situation for all. This will give rise to the spirit of mutual trust and belongingness. Now, when there is the spirit of mutual trust and belongingness among the team members, what will happen? The company will grow further. The company achieves its target on time. And this is how we had just concluded the 14 principles of management.